Hello folks, so let's speak about the month of September today. And as usual, if you want to read about the overall trends this month, please see my website for more details. I normally post a monthly forecast there. So let's get into this. Now, what's happening in September? Overall, September is easier than August, especially for matters related to relationships and even money. Partly due to Venus's transit. Venus transits Libra from September the 5th till October the 2nd. So here, Venus is moving out of its debilitated state in Virgo and into its own sign, into its own Multricone sign, which is beneficial for Taurus and Libra, being that it's Lagna Lord for them, especially Libra, but also Aries, because that's your 7th Lord, going to the 7th house rather than the 6th house, much better. Now, Venus's main impulse is to connect in a balanced way in the context of relationships, in the context of agreements and contracts, and just generally the use of material resources, including money. This is the reason why Libra is considered its home, as the nature of Venus and its impulse get expressed easily here. Now, the only aspect Venus receives here is from Jupiter in the first half, right, until Jupiter moves to Capricorn. So we will be connecting in healthy ways, in harmonious ways, and perhaps even in optimistic ways with others. So it's a good transit overall for Virgo, for Gemini, for Taurus, for Libra. Mercury's movement through Virgo is also positive here for relationship and money matters. And Mercury has been in Virgo since August 26th, and it's going to stay here till November the 1st. For most of September, Mercury, like Venus, is in its own sign, where it reaches exalted state, a place where it performs very well with awareness akin to its own nature. So all activities connected to writing, speaking, communication, travel, making money, they all get a boost here. Mercury will spend a few weeks in Virgo because of its upcoming retrograde cycle on September the 27th. Mercury, in fact, will transit Virgo till September 21st. Then it's going to dip into Libra for a few days, only to go back to Virgo on October the 1st, where it will transit for the entire month of October. So this is a positive transit, and it's going to allow us to organize our lives with less chance of skipping important steps. It would be a good time to bring order to any of your affairs, to for example, your finances. Any educational pursuits can get a boost, as these things tend to take a back seat during the retrograde cycles. So now is a good time to pursue this. Also, with Rahu aspecting Virgo, you can actually make solid plans for progress and get results very quickly, right? Because here we're talking about a Rahu transit where Rahu is very strong because of its position in Taurus, and Mercury is also very strong, and they're natural friends. Their natures are similar, and therefore Mercury can perform very well and very brilliantly, I would say, through its transit of Virgo, where it is already exalted and capable of giving good results. Yeah, so it's just getting that extra boost from Rahu to do what it would otherwise do. So it's a good time to collaborate, to create, to write, to produce, and generally see momentum with various types of projects that perhaps may have been on hold for whatever reason. And adding to this, Venus in Libra will stabilize this flow, this creative flow. Yeah, Venus in Libra brings social energy also. So connecting and working with others and keeping up that momentum is a theme with Mercury and Venus moving through the very active signs of Virgo and Libra. Now, on the same day that Venus moves into Libra, Mars actually moves into Virgo late into the night on September 5th and stays there until October the 21st. Mars and Mercury, of course, don't get along. Yeah, we know that. And they don't actually work well together either. Mercury is analytical and calculating, whereas Mars is action-orientated, direct, and impulsive. So here again, Mars joins Mercury, which can lead to too much analysis, but action can be stunted. Similar to what we experienced in Leo with both of them together. Yeah. Also to note is that Mars is traveling very, very close to the Sun until the end of November, in fact. This results in a combust state for Mars. Again, pointing to action being stunted and stalled at this time. Now, what happens with a combust Mars? With a combust Mars, you can actually feel very sort of like overly competitive, irritated at the possibility of things not going your way, and see where Virgo sits in your chart. And this can especially impact those who are going through the Mars Dasha, as usual, as well as Aries and Scorpio, because Mars is there, the rulership for Aries and Scorpio. Yeah. It can also bring low self-confidence, right? It can also be difficult to express your thoughts to others because of this combust state of Mars. And this will especially play out for Virgo and Pisces. Yeah. This can also result in problems in relationships for Pisces at this time. And next month, Aries will experience this, right? Because it's landing in their 7th house. All that fire is landing on the 7th house. We have a new moon in Leo in Nakshatra of Purvashad. We have a new moon in Leo in the Nakshatra of Purva Falguni on September the 7th. The moon will join the sun at 20 degrees of Leo at approximately 1 a.m. UTC on the 7th of September, so very early in the morning. This is actually a beautiful new moon transit, especially for relationships. We have Venus in its own sign of Libra, and we have Sun in its own sign of Leo at this time. So both the ruling planet of Leo, where the new moon is taking place, being the Sun, as well as the controlling planet of Purvashad, which is Venus, are well placed in dignity, and both are getting the aspect of Jupiter. So that's quite lovely. If you wanted to make a wish at this time, especially where a special relationship is concerned, this would be an ideal time to do so. With a tight aspect of Jupiter and Venus in a trine here, and the tight aspect of Uranus with the moon as well as the sun in a trine, you can be sure that that wish will come true. So think about what you want. This is especially important if you have planets in the Leo Aquarius axis or the Aries Libra axis. Or perhaps you are in the dasha of one of these benefic planets. Yeah. This new moon will, of course, impact Leo the most because that's where it's taking place. For all the fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, this new moon can bring up some pleasant surprises actually at this time. But it's a beneficial new moon phase for everyone overall. Jupiter returns to Capricorn on September the 13th and stays till November the 20th when it glides back into Aquarius. Now, this is actually the third time that Jupiter is entering Capricorn. It's going to join Saturn here, as we know, because Saturn's been moving here for quite some time. Both Saturn and Capricorn rule authority, banks, economy, government. So these are the areas that will come under scrutiny now as Saturn's magnifying glass looks for flaws in the foundation of leadership and large entities. And we've been seeing this for quite some time, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic. In fact, this has gotten even more enhanced, and we'll continue to see this. It can also give unwarranted powers to the government as the people become more and more afraid of the uncertainty ahead. And we've seen this as well, right? Here in Europe, everyone is compelled to get vaccinated, whether they want it or not, in order to get their freedoms back. The ability to go out on weekends, the ability to travel freely. You need to get vaccinated. In Europe, at least, that's what's going on, and for much of the other part of the world as well. And this is going to continue. Also, with Jupiter moving through this space for the next 2 months, be watchful of making investments or spending frivolously. Jupiter is a significator of wealth. It's a karaka for the natural second house, and being debilitated indicates that we may see adverse effects on the economy as well. The other thing is, because it's transiting Dhanishta throughout this 2-month period, we need to keep an eye on Mars's transit, right? Because Mars is the controlling planet of Dhanishta. Well, Mars is going to be combust the entire 2 months. So this doesn't bode well for wealth matters, but it's a positive transit for the earth signs, especially for Virgo and Taurus, as well as Cancer, because you're going to feel some relief from that Aquarius transit of Jupiter. Yeah. What else is happening? Sun is transiting Virgo from September 16th till October the 17th. Again, we see the Sun joining Mars. Excessive fire energy leading to combustion. This is difficult if you're Pisces because it's happening in your 7th house of committed relationships. There is, however, a Jupiter aspect to balance things out. What happens when there's excess fire energy? It's best to release it through physical activity. It could be vigorous exercise. And in fact, most people are now able to come out of their shell and move around and go out. So getting back into your exercise routine would be a great way to use this energy, to burn this energy. You could also be very productive with work, since we're talking about Virgo. So it's a good time to get yourself organized, plan for the future, complete pending projects, etc. That's another way to put that fire energy to good use. This is a beneficial transit for fire signs, especially Sagittarius, because it's taking place in the 10th house, where excess fire can actually be a good thing. It can make you driven, it can make you energetic, it can make you ambitious. Now, finally, there is a full moon in Pisces in the nakshatra of Uttarabhadra in the early morning hours of September the 21st. This full moon is being aspected by Mars as well as Saturn, which is the controlling planet of Uttarabhadra. Normally full moons are a good time to connect with others, but here you may feel like going it alone. It's a good time to reflect, because we're talking about Pisces here. Yeah. Enjoy September. It's a good month overall. If you can travel, it's a good time for it. Yeah. All the best, folks.